Okay, so, hi. Um, in the past few videos and projects, we've been really focused on Jack, or I've focused on Jack, and his anger, frustration, upset, confusion, a little bit of violence. I don't know if we illustrated that. I don't remember if we illustrated that, but his anger comes through, and sometimes he's violent against other characters. But they still stay with him and try and understand him. But in doing so, I think I've characterized him as being just that, just the angry character in this little group. And honestly, no one is one thing, no one is one emotion, one value, one character all the time. I've conveyed these characters as being, hopefully, imaginative, inquisitive, interested, happy, balanced, patient, understanding, a little silly, without thought, again, understanding, balanced, adventurous, wanting to learn, having a lot to teach. I've talked about Dixie being selfish, but caring and understanding. And I haven't done that with Jack, and it's a disservice. It's a disservice to anyone who's had to go through trauma and hold that in their heart. It says that they're like this all the time, that people who have developed trauma or been through trauma are just one thing. And I never, ever want to convey that message. So we're going to take everybody, or some of the characters, and put them in another scene today. I want to develop them fully as characters as I see them. So we're going to take Jack. We're going to take, I'm not sure, I didn't plan this out, but I've decided we're going to have a parade, a town parade, just in celebrating being part of a community. I have two books that or one book called Potluck Extravaganza, I believe. I stole that from somebody, the term Potluck Extravaganza, where Dixie, one book idea rather, where Dixie plans or invites everyone to a community party, a community barbecue or picnic, but he decides what everyone is going to make. And he hands Joel an invitation, but it says, you will bring meatloaf. Well, Joel knows nothing about making meatloaf. And, you know, in the end, the story is everybody brings something to the table. So Joel brings what he can make, Bugsy brings what he can make, Dev brings what he can make, Max brings what he can make, Max, Jack, Dixie, Jimmy brings what he can make, and so doesn't the mayor of the town and his grandson. The mayor is the mayor is Scooter, who I don't have an illustration of, but he's a teddy bear, and his grandson, Honey Bear. So why don't we do the parade of everyone going to the picnic, or some of the characters going to the picnic. It would just be fun. It would just be nice. And Jack is included. Jack is always included. Everyone is included, even when there is conflict within the community, because we try and understand. So that person's point of view, and then easing their trouble and bringing out their best. So, but we don't want Jack to be completely about horribleness, because no one is ever one way all the time. So let's start with Scooter, who we haven't really drawn very much, but Scooter's going to be leading the parade because Scooter is the mayor. So let's see. Once again, I did not plan this out. I just knew we had to do this. So Scooter is going to be, whoop, a circle. That's his head. Sorry, I'm trying to decipher his height. Now what we're going to do first, let's draw a line down here. That tells us we're going to determine the height of everybody. And that gives us room to recalibrate or redesign. So let's do this. Let me start again. Let me start all over again. And I don't think things through. Sometimes I get nervous. So let's start all over again. Here. Taking a piece of scrap paper. Once again, I'm not using the fancy paper I have. I'm using scrap paper, things I have around the house. My old yellow pencil. And paper I had in a stack for a long time and didn't use for over a year. Almost 2 years. So we've got 2 lines here. This is going to determine the height of everyone. And I want Scooter to be bent in a proud position. So his chest is sticking out. He's mayor of the town. This will be the line of the figure. When we're drawing figures, this is how we start. His head will be thrust back a bit. Just like that. His chest is a rectangle. A rectangle around that line. We're going to have, let's have his left leg coming up. And his left leg are essentially 2 rectangles joined. So rectangle, rectangle. Let me see if I can make it clearer. There we are. Rectangle, rectangle. Lifting his leg up. His right leg is down, pardon me, and getting ready to lift. So his right leg is just another rectangle. Let's get the basics for Honey Bear, who's his little grandson, next. And again, pardon me, his head is just a circle. Maybe I made that too big. But again, these aren't permanent lines. We don't have to worry. None of this is written in stone and concrete. His body is a rectangle. So circle on top of rectangle. Let's have him mimicking his grandpa a little. So his left leg is stepping forward. It's 2 rectangles, just like Grandpa. Oop, laundry's dry. 2 rectangles, and his back leg will be 1. So his right leg is back 2. And his arm will be up. We didn't do Scooter's arm, but there's Honey Bear's arm. It's just another rectangle. For right now, we're going to make his left arm pulling back, and that'll just be a line. Grandpa, let's make Grandpa's arms. Yeah, this would be better if I thought it all the way through, but art is an adventure, so I don't worry about things too much. So his left arm is just line, line. Let me get rid of that one. Line, 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 line. So it's essentially, once again, 2 rectangles connected. What if Grandpa is actually reaching back and putting his arm around Honey Bear? Let's do that. So 2 lines. There's his shoulder coming down there. So he's touching Honey Bear. Let's see. Now we're going to, who's next? Let's put Jack next. And Jack is really happy. Jack is part of this. He's happy. Maybe he'll be carrying balloons. So Jack is a, he has an egghead, sorry. We're going to give his body motion, the direction of his figure, the same line, the same swooping line. His head is an egg shape. And for me, it's easier to draw Jack if I have his eye. Look at the direction, sorry, I'm doing this kind of screwy. The direction of his head, the direction of his body is drawn in his eye, just because it's easier for me. I'm going to attach his ears upward. Just 2 lines. Okay? And his body, just like everybody else, is going to be a bit of a rectangle. Two lines down, line across, and there's the bottom of the sweatshirt he wears all the time, or the hoodie. Let's see. Now, Jack is a bunny. He's a rabbit. So his leg is shaped a little bit differently. It's going to be a curve here. Curve. Curve in. That's like the back of his knee, let's think of it. There's coming down to his foot. There's his heel. Let's think of these as toes. And rabbits have very big haunches or thighs. So we're going to draw them really big like that. There's his knee, his foot, and let's call them his toes. He's got his leg lifted too. So we're just going to draw it as 2 lines there. We're going to connect Jack today. 2 lines there, the back of his knee, 2 lines, the back of his knee is a curve down to his heel, which would be his foot. We're not going to see his foot. And his arms. Let's say let's put Jack's arm in the air right now. We're going to have him holding something in a little bit. Probably balloons. But for right now, his arm is lifted. So it's curved line, rectangle. And I've got it at an angle, so later he could be holding something, and it will most likely be balloons. It could be a bouquet of flowers. We'll see. Let's get Jimmy to join in. Jimmy is the one who's imagining everything that's going on. So let's make him a little bit taller. And again, his head is going to be a circle or an oval. And let me get my reference materials. I drew a number of images of Jimmy, his face. And so I like to use them because I decided they were good. So, Jimmy is a circle, and I made him a little bit taller with a rectangle, almost an oval. I'm going to put his eyes in too, so I keep good direction. You know what, no, he's watching the scene. He's created it in his mind. This is Jimmy's creation, not mine. So I'm putting his nose just on top of this oval, which is too large once again, so I'm going to have to shorten it. But I put his nose over the oval, his eye here, and his second eye is actually going to be hidden by Jack's ear. I'm going to take his mouth, put it almost at the bottom of the circle, but a little higher. Okay, he doesn't look good right now. This is going to take a few minutes. Everything is about drawing and redrawing. I'm going to lift his chin. I had that oval way down here. I'm going to pull it up just like last time. Let's not forget his ears this time, or his ear, just like that. So we've got the circle. I shortened the oval. I put in a line for the indication of his mouth, his nose, his eye, his other eye, which we're not going to see. Okay, let me see, how are we going to have Jimmy? Let's put in his torso while we're thinking about Jimmy. His torso is again going to be a rectangle. Rectangle. And I'm indicating his thigh, his left thigh. Yeah. We're not going to have him we're going to have him stepping forward. So for his, there's his butt right there. That'll be the back of his pants. His thigh, a line for his thigh, another line for his thigh coming down to his knee, his shin, and his calf. And there's his other leg back there. Let's draw the cuff of his pants, which are just 2 lines for now. Cuff, cuff. And then we got to draw his left foot, which we're going to keep really easy. Let's draw it as, woo, that's too short. We're going to keep it very, very simple, hopefully. A rectangle, but with bent lines coming up. And there's his big toe. It's the best way, the easiest way to indicate a foot. Okay, let's work a little bit on his face, because as I said in the last video, he is the most difficult for me. Because I want to get him feeling right. So I just pulled in the oval a little bit, pulled in the chin a little bit. The forehead's going to be larger, a little bit larger or higher, because he's little. We're going to indicate his neck with a line. His head's bent back. He's very happy. He's very excited. And then let's, for his arm, we're just going to do a line here and a line here. And how do we want his other arm? Oh, and his, sorry, the color of this t-shirt. Okay. I think we're just going to have his arm coming down. Let's make a line for the indication of the motion of his arm. Just a line. Another line for his t-shirt. His forearm, just as an oval. Because that should hit right about his waist. His elbow should hit right about his waist. And then his hand would come down lower. It would come down towards here. So we have to make sure that the length are reasonably correct. This is just a cartoon. We're not going to worry too much. And then I'm just going to draw his hand as an oval for right now while we decide what we're going to do, okay? So we've got his sleeve, his forearm, and his hand. I'm going to pull his t-shirt up just a little bit. His t-shirt and his leg. I think I'm going to pull this line up just a little bit. Okay, so he has a thicker leg. Can you see? Okay, and let's pull out our pens. How are we doing? Oh, we've only been at this for 20 minutes. Oh no, not our pens yet. We've got to decide how these characters are looking. How Scooter and Honey Bear are looking. Honey Bear, let's draw a line for his face. He'll be looking kind of up in that direction. So we're tilting it back, and we're going to keep, let me see, we're going to have Grandpa kind of looking back and down at Honey Bear. So that will be the center line for his face. We'll erase that one. Okay? So they're interacting. Let's see. Honey Bear is a little bit easier for me to draw. So I'm going to start with his eyes. Actually, I'm going to place his nose first. What kind of nose does Honey Bear have? Honey Bear has a triangle nose. So I drew the direction of his eyes with that line. Put the line down. That's how his head will be tilted. And then the eyes, where the eyes will be, I place that line. So underneath that line is a triangle for his nose. That'll help me to figure out where his eyes go. So his eyes are going to go here and here. I think. It could change. And he has, actually it would be better to not do the eyes yet. Sorry about that. Because there is his snout. That circle is his snout. There's his triangle nose, and his snout kind of comes up a little bit. That tells us where his mouth would be and how it attaches to his face. So now let's draw the eyes in. Okay? Just like so. And I know I'm going fast. Just stop the video if you're drawing along, okay? And then his ears. So his ears are just basically two rectangles. And look at, there's the eye, there's the eye. They would be at the center of the ears. The ears would be a little bit bigger than where the eyes are. Okay? Now his head is a little large. So I'm going to do, we're going to take that circle and kind of flatten it out a little bit. Line down, and neck. Just like that. So line down, neck. Back of his head will be a curved line, like so. And then where did we put his arms? Oh, I see him. There's his arm, but I think I want to lift that up a little bit. Again, we're just constantly recalibrating and rethinking. So his arm, because he's super excited, but he's trying to look up. His arm is lifted a little bit, so I just moved his arm from that original line out there, and there. And then a curved line underneath. And we've already got his other arm. Seems a little off, though, with Grandpa's arm. So I just erased, pardon me, I erased the original line we had for his right arm. And we're rethinking it now, because Grandpa's reaching back. But Honey Bear has a shoulder, so we got to erase that arm, that line rather, erase the bottom of Grandpa's line, Scooter's line, and then draw Honey Bear's shoulder and the top of his arm, touching Grandpa. So they're touching each other. Okay. Let's go to Scooter. scooter also has a triangle nose. So I drew the line for his eye, well, kind of for his eyes, but there's his nose right in this, meeting, right where the two lines meet. Got it? You know what I mean. But Scooter also has, he doesn't have a snout quite like Honey Bear. He has, his face is constructed differently. He has lines that come down this way and meet up at his nose. That's how he's stitched together. And this Scooter is based on my Scooter, who's sitting right in front of me. Scooter was my teddy bear when I was little. Okay? So it looks kind of like an owl right now, but he won't for long. And his eyes would go just outside those seams that are going to come down. Okay? So we've got these lines coming down to the triangle, circle, circle, just above the line for the nose. And he does have a little bit of a snout, but not like Honey Bear where it's really big. So we're just going to draw a circle right there. Okay? Let's hold it up. This is definitely going to be a 2-video project. And there's his ears. His ears, once again, will line up where his eyes are. Okay? And they're going to be a little bit bigger than the eyes, the lines for them. They're going to be that stitching that comes down to his nose, right there, indicates where the ear would start. And down. Okay, let's get rid of that line because that's confusing. Okay, we're almost ready to pull out our pens. So let's do Jack's ears, which again are going to be just like our leaves. Okay, it's just a curvy line and another curvy line. He's kind of blocking Jimmy, but that's okay, because Jimmy is the Imagineer of all of this. He's the one who's created this. He's the force behind this. So he's dreaming this up. Okay, so 2 curvy lines for Jack's ears. We can get rid of the little antennae lines that we made to indicate where the ears would be. And let's do the inside of the ear, which would be a 3rd curvy line. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. But it's 1, 2 curvy line, 1, 2 curvy line. Let's do let's detail his face or his head. I want to figure out, put his jaw right there. Top of his head. That's his other eye socket. Coming down to, let me see something. Yeah. His eye socket coming down to his nose. Should be right there. I'm not big on having their mouths open. It kind of drives me nuts a little bit. I don't like that hyper excited feel. What if they're quietly happy? I like that. I'm comfortable with that. So there's his nose. We're going to keep his mouth closed even though he's happy. And we're going to indicate he's happy by showing his cheeks are lifted. When we smile, our cheeks are lifted. So we're going to do a line like that, which indicates he's smiling. Okay? So his eye kind of looks like a sun rising. We're going to draw the back of his head, which I think I just screwed up a little bit, but it's okay. So we'll figure it out. Coming down to his sweatshirt. And he's always in this hoodie. So we're going to draw the hood, which is going to block out Jimmy's arm. Poor Jimmy! Just like the side of a box. That's the hoodie. Here's the collar. Where's his jaw? Where'd it go? Maybe we'll figure that out when we put our pens in. Where's his other arm? What did I do with his arm? No, maybe not like that. Looks weird. We'll have his arm coming forward. So we're doing a line this way. There's the box for the hoodie, part of the box for the hoodie. His shoulder coming down to his forearm. And his hand. We'll draw another line for the front of his arm. Okay? This will all become clear in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to give you a second to look. Okay? There he is. His arm, the shoulder, down to the upper part of the arm, forearm, the other side of the arm, and his hand. His sunrise eye, which we may move. You know what, let's do that again. Let's pull it back just a little bit. Because then we can do, no, that's ugly. Not ugly, it's going to be too confusing. So I'm putting it back. Sorry. I don't want to do his nose like that. I don't have my reference material for Jack with me, so... Oh, there we go. There he is. Sorry, I had it too high. So there was his original eye, way up here with the sunrise, the cheek. So what I did was I just moved it over and down a little bit. So it's going to be aligned with this ear, and the top of his nose. There he is. There's my Jack. Okay? Now we give the sunrise eye. His cheek is lifted because he's happy. And his eyes are wide open. There's my Jack. There he is. Just moved it forward and down. Okay, let's get our big pen. Okay, let's tackle Jimmy first. I really want to make sure I get him right. He's modeled after several friends I have, his physicalness. And I don't want to insult, so I need to make sure that I get him right. Ooh, and I want to lower his eye too. It's very, very high. So his eye was originally up here. I think I want to move his eye down just a little bit too. Let's see, does that feel right? Yeah, that's closer. So I just moved it down a little bit. There was the original eye. I moved it down here. So it's more, there's the top of the nose. The center of the eye is at the top of the nose. Okay, let's grab our big fat pen and give this a try and hope I don't mess up. Okay, I'm going to draw Jimmy's eye first. That's going to tell me where the rest of his head goes. The side of his head is a curve, or the back of his head is a curve. Let me get this in so you can see it. Let's not forget his ear this time. There's his ear. I'm going to do his front cheek first. I think I want to lift it up just a little bit further. And then his left cheek. Okay? The front of his forehead. And his curly hair. He has dark brown to black curly hair, and it's always clean cut, so it's just the top of his hair. That's how he has it cut. Let's do his mouth. Just like that. And we're going to take No, we won't do the small pen yet. Let's get his shoulder, his right shoulder. There it is. His neck. The collar. His left shoulder down to his arm. The under part and the cuff of his t-shirt. Let's draw his forearm, which this time I've drawn as two curved lines. I don't know why, I just did. And now we'll get, let's see, I'm going to get the front of his t-shirt, where his tummy would be. His t-shirt ends at his pants. And he's always in cargo pants too. I forgot the pockets, because he carries all of his supplies with him. Whether it's his drawing materials or a book. So there's the pocket. It's a rectangle over a square. And we'll see it clearer in just a sec. Let's draw his butt, the top of his leg, his knee. So the top of his leg is a line down, and then a line down for his knee. Oh, this is tough. Another line down for his shin. And let's draw the pocket for his cargo pants. So that's a rectangle over a square. A little bit of a curved line for the back of his leg. The cuff of his pants. Okay, let's indicate his other foot. We'll just have it as a round. That's his heel. It kind of looks like he's kicking Jack, which I don't like at all, because that wouldn't be true. They're pals. So we'll draw these lines in a minute. This will be his foot, but let's make some other things clear first. The front of his pants on the right side, from his, what would be his knee down, from his calf down, cuff of his pants. We're going to do his foot. So his heel, which we drew here, the underside of his foot, which I just curved up a little bit because for the instep, top of his foot. And I don't focus on any other toes, just his big toe. Okay, keeping it simple. Let's do the same thing over here. Top of his foot and a line down indicating his toes. Okay. And let me see, what are we going to do with his hand? I think I just want to leave his hand round for right now, in pencil, while we figure it out. Let's draw his nose. Let's grab the tiny, or skinny marker, or skinny Sharpie. And I do it in lines. I think I made it a little big. He's got a wide nose, so I did it in dots and dashes. And then he has full lips as well, which I indicate with an oval. Just like that. And I think I want to smile a little bit wider. There, so I just took a line, made a little dot outside that oval. Let's do his eyes. They're just lines, remember? Boop, 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 boop. That's it. So there's Jimmy, he's started. Let's move on to Jack. Let's grab our fat marker again. How are we doing for time? I want to draw his eye first. Just like that. The sunrise. Let's take his ears that are blocking poor little Jimmy. And I think I want to change the shape just a tad. We did two curved lines. I oftentimes do this, just change the shape a little bit. So a line, a line, a line. I did a curved line, and then a curved line, and a line down. Okay. We're going to draw the other ear, which I'm going to stick with, kind of stick with the original idea. Okay. Top of his head, he has fur, so a few lines coming out, like my hair, which is all spiky. I'm going to skip drawing the top of his head, but his eye socket would be there, coming down to his nose, coming down to the front of his nose. Not quite right, but it's okay. The back of his head and his jawline. Let's draw his right shoulder, right arm. Those are just two lines, little bent, straight line. For his forearm, one line. And this is going to be wide because he's wearing a sweatshirt. He's wearing a hoodie. Collar, collar, two lines. Collar, collar. The hoodie is basically just a square. You can soften it up by taking that corner off the line, but it's basically a square. I just went line, line, curvy line. All right, his left shoulder, be line, line, curvy line, curvy line, 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 curvy line. And I'm gonna, let me see, oh, he needs the cuff of his hoodie, and I'm gonna keep his hands closed. So what I did, I indicated what might be a thumb, line up here, instead of keeping it an oval, made it a little bit more boxy. Line, line, curvy line, curvy line. And then this hand is going to be holding something. So it's going to be basically the same idea. We're going to take that rectangle and take the edges off where his hand is curved. So line, line, curvy line, angle, angle. Okay? Sorry if that's not clear. Doing my best. Let's get the front of his sweatshirt, the back of his sweatshirt, and the waist of his sweatshirt, of his hoodie. The waist of his hoodie is elastic. So we're drawing in the lines for the elastic. Now let's get his butt and his haunch. Front of that left leg. So that's a curvy line down to the back of his knee. Curvy line in the back of his knee. Almost like a hook. Front of the leg is a straight line. Curvy line down to his foot. I gave him a little bit of a heel with a bump in there. Back of his foot. The front of his foot or his paw. We're giving him a little bit of a toe. Oop! That came out weird. Now he's got a big fat foot. But it's okay. I did that silly. Okay, and there's his other leg. It's just going to be a line. Let's move on to the bears, which should be easier. Eyeball. Eyeball. Triangle. Ear. Ear. Okay. We can give him dots and dashes because he's fuzzy, so he doesn't have to be all straight lines. Dots and dashes. Side of his face, which side? Right side of his face, right side of his chin, coming down to his neck. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's draw Grandpa's left shoulder, or left shoulder and arm. So then we can go ahead and draw honey bears. I'm going to lift that arm just a little bit, the line for his arm. The underside of his arm. And now his left arm. Doop. Doop. Okay. I'm getting short on time, so I'm just going to finish this up and then we'll move on to the second part of the project in the next video. Alright, he's got a, he has a rectangle for a body, but And originally drew it. We drew the rectangle, but we're going to pull his tummy in. Instead of the rectangle, we're going to pull his tummy in like that. Okay? You'll see it in just a sec. There's his tummy. There's the front of him. Let's draw the back of him, and it'll just be, that's his butt, his little bum. And now we're going to draw his legs, which are attached with dots and dashes. A line for the front of his leg coming to his knee, down to his foot. The underside of his leg coming down to the back of his knee, coming down to his foot. It's going to be a little funny. He's a little twisted. Like Jack's foot is too big, but it's okay. It is all okay. Let's draw his right leg, just kind of coming back. Okay, everybody's marching. Ooh, I forgot Jack's other leg. His right foot. So there's the line for his right leg. There's a curve coming down to his heel, coming down to the foot that we're going to conceal, thank God, because I made that too big. Let's move on to Scooter while we still have time. His eye, triangle nose, ear. And I'm doing dots and dashes in places, indicating fur. Okay. His right arm, or his right shoulder, going to his right arm, the underside of his arm. The forearm, and what would be his hand. But he doesn't really have one. It's a stumpy thing. Anyway, his tummy, boink. His back, going to his bum. His left leg, which is lifted because he's leading this parade. His knee is just a line that way. You see? A line, there's his knee, going down that way. Down to the front of his left leg, down to his foot, and the back of it. Super easy, I think. I may be wrong, but I think it's kind of easy. Okay? Dots and dashes and lines, that's all, basic shapes. Right now we're going to do his right leg, which is just extended or straightened like honey bears. We're not going to do any detail. That's it. It's just a rectangle. Let's take our skinny pen. Let's get as far as we can. Remember we drew the snout? We drew the circle for the snout on Honey Bear. Let's go do it in pen, and we can do it in dots and dashes. We don't have to do it as one big line. Dots and dashes. The same on Scooter, his snout. Dots and dashes. It can be very light. Now we're going to follow these lines, the seam lines coming down Scooter's face, because he is Honey Bear's grandpa, but he's made differently. He was made at a different time. Okay, let's fill in everybody's eyes. There they are. Sorry, there's the seam lines. All right, let's fill in everybody's eyes. Go back to Jack. Just a bunch of lines. Just lines. Honey Bear's eyes can be a little bit bigger. He's looking up at his grandpa with wide eyes. Okay. And Scooter's eyes. Lines. Lines. And we want them a little dark. We don't want them to look too light. Okay. We want to get this line, the inside of Jack's ear. So it's going to be just a line kind of following the outer line here, coming down. Okay, you see? Lines following this line. That's it. And what about Scooter's, something to indicate Scooter's chin. So I just added more dots and dashes coming down. And Honey Bear's jaw. So a second line there for Honey Bear's jaw. And neither one of them really has a mouth in my story, although they do talk. So we're going to think about that. We're going to think about it and see if we want to give them mouths. But I do like quiet happiness, the happiness that we hold inside. So sometimes I don't like smiling too much. Okay. Oh, we forgot to do the lines inside the nose. So just dash, 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 dash. Look at the nose. All right. So we got this started. We'll finish it up in the next video. How's that? I'm going to erase some of my lines and then we'll move on. Okay? Good job. Good job. Good job. And we'll figure out his hand too, the mouth and the hands. Oop. I'm going to put a line right there. See what happens. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next time. Okay? Ciao. Ciao.